Hey guys, it's patch 1.2.0.1 and we talk about the Berserker today. We talk about the equipment, we talk about the skills, and we talk about the rotations. First of all, we start with the gear. The dungeon gear from the level 37 is really good. You can use it still for the 45 dungeons until you get the epics. Actually, I have one epic, and this epic is really bad. C pattern, not so bad for PvP, but for PvE, the shoulders, the blue shoulders from level 37 are much more better. Yeah, so take the blue equipment from the 37 dungeon and try to get as much bear patterns as you can. Means from this 7 pieces, 5 should be bear pattern and 2 should be wolf. Wolf is the spirit or the pattern with the hit. And when we have 2 of them in the blue spirits, for example, for the epic spirits, you need only 1 wolf pattern. With the 2 wolf pattern on in the blue gear or with the blue spirits, we have the 100% hit ratio. I know when you remove this, for example, okay now, then we have 10 hit. 10 hit we have from the ability tree, but this 97%, the most people would say now, okay, this is enough. But I swear, I don't know why, but every time when I fight against mobs and I don't have enough hit, I miss a lot of spells. And this is, in my opinion, more than 3%. So that's why I recommend get the 100% hit ratio. Okay. Yeah. I told you that bear pattern is the best with the wolf pattern. So 2 wolf pattern, the rest bear pattern. In this gear, I have a really bad chest with the waterfall pattern, which is okay for PvP, but for PvE useless. And in my helmet, I have the leopard pattern with the acceleration. Acceleration is not so bad as a stat. Acceleration is a stat what gives us a little bit more cooldown reduction, and our charge spells like the decapitate, for example, will charge faster. Okay. What I would recommend is when you don't get the bear patterns and you see, for example, in the market a helmet, and the helmet has, or you can choose between acceleration, critical hit, then I would recommend the critical hit. This is my opinion. Okay, so this is all about the, okay, what I see here. For the necklace and for the rings, you should go for the Tarasos set. It's really cool. Gives you at step 10 enhancement, which is for me actually hard work. Acceleration from 91, and I think it should be approx 2 or 3%. We will see. Yeah. For the weapon, take the 45 blue weapon. And for the Berserker, you don't care about the effect on the weapon, because the effects for the Berserker, they are all not really good. This one is totally useless because dodge move don't cost anger anymore. Dodge move is free of charge. Okay, skills. PvE, we fight in the second stance, the anger tactic, and we fight in the fourth stance, the rampage tactic. Booth has really good skills, Booth has really good conversations, and what we should skill is in the anger tree, the decapitate, for sure the ground, and for sure the Rhapsody. The rest, like this one here, I had some points and I put it in. Why not? Let me say, for the rotation important is this one and this one. This one is a filler. For example, when this one is on cooldown, then you use this one. But I will show it later in the rotations. The Rhapsody is a good skill, has a good damage, and has an interesting mechanics because of the when you are low life, the Rhapsody hits harder, and with the new conversation effect from the Berserker, it's a very good spell, a very good cast, but we will talk about it later. In this tree, for sure, Decapitate, definitely. The Rumbling Ground, the Rhapsody, and this one is a filler, the Skull Cleaver. Okay, let's go back to the anger taxing and talk about the other skills what we have here, or why we skill it this way and not the other way. Decapitate, you know why, it's our main, our biggest skill. We can make a 18k non-crit, we can crit for, yeah, for sure we can crit over 25k. This is a very good skill. And this is what we should use. Rhapsody, yes, good skill, because when we are low life or we have a little bit less health, this one hits very hard. And in this area, the most people recommend that you skill the Cry of Anger. I don't recommend it anymore because the Cry of Anger don't make much damage, or it makes, so it's a buff, but with this one we start our chain, and we could reduce here the cooldown time by 1 second. It was really cool because this one was all the time ready when we closed our chain skill, for example. This one was all the time ready, but now with the new change on the Berserker, with the new conversation effect, with the bleeding and the anti-heal, this one is a good filler, and we don't need the cooldown time here anymore. This one you don't need to skill as well, because this one makes only increased stun time and increased anger recharge, so it's useless. It don't make much more damage. What you should do is here, this points, okay, for the more crit. Very cool. And here, Decapitate, we said before. Rumbling Ground, Rhapsody, genius combo for single target DPS on the boss, for example. When you are in a trash pack, for example, and let me say Migras, you know the waves, and when you do all your AoE inside these waves, the bosses, or not the bosses, but when you do the AoE inside the mobs, you will take the aggro with the Berserker. It's normal, and because we make so much AoE damage, and you will take it. When you start in this combo, for example, with this AoE chain, you skip, you switch the stance, you go into this tree. When you do this one, you will feel, after that the targets go in the air, there comes a little acoustic signal. Means, okay, you took the aggro, or there are some people, or some mobs or some mobs will attack you now because you have the aggro. Okay, then this tree is a really good choice. This one is just a buff for the fighting power and the crit. It's okay, it's very cool, but this one is important. This one is a AoE skill which gives you a 100% parry ratio. Means when the mobs, when all the mobs come to you and try to hit you, you can avoid it with the parry, which is really cool. This one, for example, amazing skill when you are in the Urutus mines on the second boss and the ads come. This one will save your ass, for sure. This one is our filler. But this filler is, let me say, a special filler. This filler, sometimes it's better when you use this one instead of this one. Let me explain why. For example, when you're on the statue boss in Patala, the big statue, yeah, you need to kill the four little statues before you can kill the big one. There's a shield, and when you time it right, you can apply the bleed on the statue and make your normal rotation. Means you have an increased damage on the statue. It works as well for the Nagas. When you see that the Naga has, for example, 9 stats, stacks for the, you know, when he has 10 stacks, he goes stoned. And of the 9 stack, you wait a little bit, then you will apply the bleed on him, and then you can make your normal rotation. It makes a lot of damage. So it's a little bit DPS more, but it is still DPS more, and we need the DPS. Okay, the conversation on this skills are really cool. This one here, for example, switch effect. We get 5% more power, but our defense is 5% lower. And this one altogether, when you skill it until here, with this conversation and this 4 points, you have 50% more fighting power, which is amazing damage. This one here, I like it, but it's up to you. This one with the skill and this for enhancement is 9% more crit. 9% more crit is good, but you know, we have a base crit from I think 5%. Together with the 9%, it's 14%. When I play with this, I feel it like I crit definitely more. That's why I like it. But it's up to you. Okay, non-chain skills. This one, yeah, I would say use this for PvE. Okay, this one, yes, sometimes it's good. Okay, for example, 37 dungeon where all the wyverns are. When you activate it, you will get for sure 30% more fighting power because so much adds. It's good for the second boss in Urotos. It is good. What is this good? Some more. Okay. Every time when you have a lot of adds, this is very good. Okay. The dodge move. Dodge move is how should I say it? The dodge move is our iframe. Yeah, means with this one we can survive the AoEs. With this one we come out of the CC, and for the most bosses it's very important to dodge the AoE for a melee or to come out of the CC. When you skill this one here, then you have an increased cooldown time by 30 seconds, but you will get 30% more fighting power. And when you make these points, these two skills, these 2 points, then you have 40% more fighting power after a dodge roll. The problem is actually that you have some bosses, let me say the last boss in Urotos, where the dodge roll don't work properly. It's a little bit tricky. They don't work so good. What I mean is when you have a boss and the boss makes the AoE, that you can make the dodge roll inside the AoE to avoid the damage, and when you make the dodge roll inside the AoE, you will stay at the boss. What I mean is, for example, you stay here, you do the damage on the boss, the AoE comes, you can make the dodge roll through the boss on the other side, and starts the rotation U with the damage buff, which you can see here, 50%. Okay, that's what I mean. But this one has an increased cooldown time by 30 seconds, means we have a cooldown time from 60 seconds. We have 5 charges, means we can do the dodge roll 5 times. And after the first dodge roll, the timer starts. Means when I use now my last one, it don't start at 60 seconds, it starts at 12. Because after the first time you use a dodge roll, then the cooldown starts. This one is a great damage buff, but you need to be careful with this one. Because now you see the reason why. It starts at 1 charge. When we use now this dodge roll, we have for the next seconds nothing. For the most bosses, it's not so bad, But let me say, Urutus, the last boss, the lady, the mage, the black mage, she make a lot of melee AoE, and sometimes when I die on this lady, then I die because I don't have my dodge roll, and that is really pretty bad. It's up to you. It is a good damage burst, but for example, when you don't take these points, you have a 30-second dodge roll. Means you have all the time the dodge roll. It's a little bit more mobility, but a little less damage. It's up to you guys. Enraged Warrior, a very good skill. The most people ignore the skill because they say, okay, it consumes the anger, it increased my parry rate, it's shit. But this one here is really, really interesting. Okay, when we enhance the skill in this area, what we get is 15% more damage. We get a resistant stance control skills. It's a little bit, the translation is not so good. Means that we are CC immune for the time. The problem is that it removes the parry ratio from the skill, and it has increased cooldown time for 20 seconds. But what is very effective, the Enraged Warrior, when you activate it, the Enraged Warrior is not a buff, for example, like the AoE protection shred, where you have for the next 3 or 4 seconds the buff. The Enraged Warrior buff has no limit, let me say. As long as you have the anger here, and when you fight, you have it for sure, it will recharge the whole time. As long as you have the anger, the Enraged Warrior buff is still there. It's still there the whole time you have the anger, okay? But when you make a stand for example, and you lose all your anger, the Enraged Warrior is away. That's why I don't like it, because yeah, it's cool when you have all the time the 15%, but you make the switch stance a lot, and this one is it's not so effective. But what you should know about the skill is that I said before that when you activate this, he will consume the anger. This is a skill. Maybe some people would say, okay, this one is better for them, because when you consume the anger and you make a stand switch without anger, means, for example, when I make now the stand switch, I get the conversation and nothing more. Okay? Stand switch, conversation, nothing more. But when we have anger and we make the conversation, the stand switch, then this one comes. This one is a 100% healing debuff. And when we make, with this debuff damage, 2.5% of our own health, we will lose. There you can see it. So means, when you have the Enraged Warrior activated, and your anger is 0, and then you make the stand switch, then you don't have the debuff. But the healing debuff, the 100%, gives you 30% movement speed as well. So it's up to you. Okay? Fighting Spirit. I like the skill because I need the anger when I start the fight, because I will do the combo with the Fighter's Will and the AoE protection shred. That's why I have it here on this. I think I get now, let me say, what was it? 80. 80, and this one is 20, and this one is 60. So you have a little bit more time to react. Good skill. I would recommend this one here, this area. Fighter's Will, good skill. Gives you 10% more damage, decrease all defense by 10%. Yeah, it's okay. I don't like the additional effects. Here you can see that we have the increased cooldown time by 20% and we have the increased anger consumption by 20. That's a big problem because when we have here, for example, 40 anger consumption, and here we have another 40, we have 80 together, and yeah, you see, we don't get enough anger. This one is okay, but I would no enhancement, I would say. This one is okay, but no enhancement. But what is really important is this skill here. This one is a skill, you can see it there, applies mark effect of all enemies within 5 meter radius by 30%. Means, and this is very important, the mark on the enemy means that when you stay on the boss and you activate the spell, that the boss will get a mark and the boss has a reduction from 30% of the armor. I have enhanced it, so I have 40%. The 40% the 40% armor shred, armor protection shred, or armor shred. Let's say armor shred. The 40% armor shred are amazing for the ranger and good for the guardian. The ranger can do a lot of damage. The guardian will do a little bit more damage, and the berserker will do more damage as well. A very good skill, and you should have it when you are in a group. And for example, when you have a group and in the group is always a ranger, in the most group we have always a ranger, takes the skill. It's really good. This one's the last point, if you need it or not, I don't know. This 20% movement speed, sometimes the people say that they get it as well. Sometimes I get it by myself only. I don't know. Maybe it's a bug, or maybe it's something missing in the description here. I don't know. But this one, it's really good. Yeah, and you see, it decreases the movement speed by 30%. It's okay, for example, when you have the mobs on the Uro to second boss. You can slow with this one. You can stay in the front, you can slow with this one, you can make a little bit of more damage. And yes. Forstall, PvE skill, PvP skill. A very good PvP skill. I don't like it because I mostly play PvE, and for PvE I don't need it. Abilities, it's up to you. Important is the strength here 40 and here 40. This one gives you a lot of damage. Critical hit, increased damage, the frenzy, increased hit, increased fighting power by 50. This one also the most, let me say, the most important one. Okay? Rotation. When you start the fight, you should activate Fighting Spirit, Mellow-Ends, and the Fighter's Will. It doesn't work now because this one gives me only 70 and the other one consumes 30 and 40, and I lost some anger when I start a fight without any enemy contact. Okay, I will show it later again when we have another rotation, or when we are inside a rotation. The rotation for the Berserker is really simple. I can show it here again, and then I show it on the puppet here. The Decapitate is a skill what should be always the 6th chain. Okay? This one or this one should be always your 6th chain. And when you are, for example, in the anger stance, this one should be your... This one is the skill what you should use. Okay? When you start the rotation with this one. And this one is a filler. Okay, here's the same. Oh, sorry, here. Yep. This one is the skill what you use for starting the chain. And this one is a filler. Okay, so. For example, we start in this stance. You see, it's very close with the conversation buff. You need to be really fast with this combo. Yeah. So when we start from this combo. And now we have the 6th chain. We activate our burst. And we start the rotation again. After this 6th chain, dodge roll to get the damage buff and do the damage. Dodge roll and starts again. Dodge roll, start again. The dodge roll normally you can do every time, but for example, when you know the boss fights and you know how the bosses works, then maybe you will take, for example, 2 of this and will keep it. Keep it for, let me say, for huge AoE damage where you need to dodge, which you need to dodge. Last boss Orutus, which makes a lot of AoE damage, you need to dodge. And when you can't dodge it because you make the whole time damage with the dodge move, it's not so effective. So, for some bosses, very good. For some other bosses, be careful. Okay? Great. Yeah, I forgot something? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Okay, let's talk about another thing. When we have a boss and we need as much burst as possible, okay, in a short time, then you need to try to start in this stance. I will tell you why. This stance, when you switch, you have 50% more damage, 50% more fighting power. Means in this stance, let's gain some anger. Okay. Activate. Switch. You see the buff. And now you hit with more than nearly 20k. Decapitate. This is the most burst what we can do in a short time. Yeah. A few things what you need maybe to know, because I saw it on another guide and I saw it on another stream. Sometimes the people, for example, they start a rotation, they do damage, they switch, they do damage. Okay. They switch again, they do damage, and then they see, oh, see, my fighting spirit and fighter's will is up. When you activate it now, you break your combo. Okay? So you need to know that all the buffs that you have, the dodge roll, the fighting power, everything, you make it after the 6th chain. You activate it and you start your chain again. Because when you make it inside the chain, you will break your chain. Okay? This is not effective. So again, we start a new combo. I take my buff. New combo, I take the buff. Okay, now I need a little bit slow. Normally you don't do it in the team in a fight. You go the whole time straight. But after this 6th chain, my spells are here ready again, and you can activate it. You do insane burst. That's it. Yes. You see, the most people say that they have the ultimate Berserker guide, but in my opinion, it is not the ultimate Berserker guide. Okay, there is no ultimate circle guide, because there are so much things. What is depends on you. For example, that the thing with the chain skill, with the non-chain skill, with the dodge roll. This one you can do for more damage, but then you don't have the dodge roll all the time for the AoE, for example. So it's up to you guys. This is only a little how I play the Berserker. You can make your own, for example, non-chain skills. You can change it if you want. But for example, for the chain skills, you should go with this rotation what I showed you, because this is a rotation which makes them the most damage. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it, and when you have some questions, you can come, or you can join our Discord. I don't know the address at the moment, but okay. You can make a twink or a tune on the server Ermikis, yes, and this is my name in the guild, and yeah, then you can contact me and we can talk about it. And yes, guys, enjoy the Berserker. Is a really good character, and hopefully we see us in the future. Bye bye.